Good morning, honorable members.
Morning, Chair. We are here.
Yes. I'm trying to change my name there. I'm not able. I don't know. But anyway, how are you? How are you, Chair?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much. And you?
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful.
Yes, and good morning, support staff.
Good morning, Chair.
Now, Nandiba, I'm trying to change my name there. I'm not able.
Okay, I will change it for you, Chair. What do you want me to name you as?
Just Piro and Pala will be fine because there is P Pala at Parliament.
Okay, Chair.
Okay.
Good morning, coaches. It's now 9 o'clock, and we do form the quorum, so you can start the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning to the support staff, and good morning to the colleagues from the South African National Defence Force. I don't know.
Recording in progress.
I don't know if if there is a deputy minister on the platform. I am aware that the minister had sent an apology, but perhaps as we start, let us get to the apologies.
Good morning, chairs. Everyone, to all the members in the platform. I've got an apology from Mr. Niehaus, who is representing the president of his party in a mini plenary, which is taking place the same time as the committee meeting. And then there's also an apology from Mr. Kharike, who's attending the CRC meeting, Constitutional Review Committee. And then an apology from Mr. Tebekulu, who is in KZN deployed by his party. An apology from Ms. Khwekana. And then there's an apology from the minister who is in Russia attending. Let me check what did the minister is in Russia attending commemoration of the victory of the Soviet people in the Great Patriotic War from the 7th until the 10th of May. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. No word from the deputy ministers.
No, I haven't received anything from them, Chair.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Chair, if I may, this is Ingen Debonga de Villiers, Head of Office to Deputy Minister Holomisa. He is aware of this meeting and he is joining. It just may take him a moment or so.
Okay. Okay, thank you. It would have been nice if he had joined, because we would ask him to introduce the matter. But that notwithstanding, colleagues, we have 9 items on the agenda. It does look like a very long agenda, and I wonder if we will be able to go through all of it. But we will go until 1 o'clock as we are scheduled. And if there are any items we've not concluded by that time, we will then defer them to the next meeting next Friday.
Chair.
I don't know who is talking.
My apologies, Chairperson. Is the head of office for Deputy Minister Mkhungo. So he's also joining, Chair. Yes, yes. I just wanted to raise that. My apologies.
Okay, okay. I was still saying that the items from item 6 are more administrative, and we can consider them at the next meeting. But we will see. It will all depend on how far we go with today's discussions. Can we have a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Unfortunately,
I've got my hand up.
Okay, let me see. Okay. Right, Honorable Noe, followed by Honorable Godson.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings to everybody on the platform. Chair, I just want to suggest that perhaps I don't know, we put on the next meeting the issue of the apologies. I'm not sure whether at the committee level, just to note and accept every apology, doesn't matter its nature. What makes me to say this is it's an apology that says I'm deployed by my party. It is there for second time it appears and I'm not being specific to any party, I'm just being principled, that is it correct that parliament work should come after party work at such level? If all members of the committee can be deployed by their parties and respond to that, it means this a committee will be rendered dysfunctional. So I would just like us to investigate and establish which apology really should be considered as acceptable at the committee level. Most importantly, I'm looking at that one. So it's now 2 members deployed by their committees, by their parties to other work and sacrificing the committee work. So I just feel concerned about that, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, noted. Honorable Gotzel.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Honorable Gotzel. We will come back to the proposal you are making. I suppose some other members who have raised their hands might want to respond to it, but I would like us not to spend much time on apologies, given the extensive agenda that we have. Honorable Gotzel.
Thank you, Chair. My input is on the apologies, but not of the other members in this committee. I would like to know when the Minister rendered her apology for today's meeting. To my knowledge, this meeting was scheduled in the last term already, and the ministerial briefing certainly has been awaited for a long time now. And I am sorry, but I do not accept a last-minute apology by the Minister for such an important briefing. Surely she should be here today. So if I may just have some clarity on when exactly the committee received the Minister's apology.
Honorable Gerike.
Yeah, Chair, good morning and good morning, colleagues, chairpersons. Chair, there's just a confusion of time. I know that I've submitted an apology for the meeting, but the time for the other committee meeting has been shifted to an hour later. However, I understand the concern of the Constitutional Review Committee is a committee of Parliament. It's a fully constituted committee, and it's just that the times are clashing at the moment. That's my submission, sir. So if I apologize to attend another committee, it's not that I attend something else. I do the work of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Lihwase.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good morning to all the colleagues on the platform. Chairperson, without taking away any comment that is being made by members, I would like to propose that we adopt the agenda with the understanding that some of the items may go or be referred to the next meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lihwase. Honorable members, may I suggest that we continue with the meeting. The issue of apologies, I am sure the reason it's on the agenda is because it is allowed that people may apologize for one reason or the other. It could be that the minister's apology is based on an urgent basis, and the deputy ministers are there to be able to cover the ground that the minister could be able to cover. And the other members, if their parties wish to deploy them elsewhere, they will also be able to, providing, I hope, that they also send a replacement so that the committee does not run short of its quorum. I will not want, honorable members, that we spend time discussing apologies. There are people who are well equipped to deal with the agenda items that we have. If there are issues that require either the absent members or the minister herself, we will be able to communicate those issues. They are well within our capability. Given that we have a long and big agenda, I request that we proceed with the agenda and be able to cover as much ground as possible. Our meeting is scheduled to finish at 12, but I'm sure members can indulge until 1 o'clock if need be, so that we're able to cover the much ground that we have to cover. Honorable members, with your permission, I will not take the hands that I see. With your permission, I will not take them. I request that we go straight to the briefing on the SANDF deployment and that as part of MONUSCO. And I want to request that agenda item 3 and 4 be addressed at the same time, because it will, I suppose it will start with the withdrawal and then indicate what happens to the SANDF deployment as part of MONUSCO.
Chairperson, I'm sorry, but I have to express my concern. I don't think a celebration in Russia is any more important. Well, it's not important at all, especially given the agenda items today. And I would like to record my dissatisfaction with the minister not being here whilst this agenda item was approved and put on the schedule for this term long ago.
Honorable members, it could just not be a celebration. There are diplomatic relations involved between countries. And I think we need to respect that, given that we do not have, we are not privy to the reason why the president deployed the minister to Russia. It's not just about the celebration. There are diplomatic issues involved. You will be aware that the president recently met with the president of Ukraine. It could very well be that some of those issues are on the agenda of the minister as she has been deployed to Russia. So let's not get into that. I would also be concerned if the matter was just a celebration. But we note the concern that Honorable Botsel raises, and the fact that we schedule meetings well in advance, and having noted that concern and the fact that we are not privy to the full detail of the minister's mission, I want to request, Honorable Deputy Minister, that we proceed with the presentation from the SANDF.
Thank you, Chairperson, honorable members, Deputy Minister Mkongi, the Defense Force officials. Yes, I was informed that I will have to pass and report to you that our minister is out of the country and has delegated me to respond to this invitation on her behalf. We are grateful for the opportunity to engage with the committee today. We are joined by the Chief of Staff of the SANDF and the Chief of Joint Operations, who will deliver a detailed presentation covering our regional deployments, specifically our ongoing involvement in MONUSCO operations in the DRC, as well as the broader SADC peace support mission. Let me begin by stating unequivocally, our forces are still operational in the DRC under the MONUSCO framework, and the situation on the ground remains fluid. However, as you are aware, there are troops which were under SADC, which are being withdrawn as we speak. But the Chief of Staff Operations will give more details on that. I must acknowledge and appreciate the significant diplomatic efforts that have led to the current ceasefire, which, as of this briefing, is holding. We extend our gratitude to His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa and His Excellency President Paul Kagame, as well as the leadership of SADC community. Their collective maturity and commitment to peace have been vital in facilitating this outcome of withdrawal. Key meetings have taken place between our military chiefs and affected parties. These engagements have contributed significantly to stabilizing the situation, but we must emphasize that the full extent and analysis of the operation, including its strategic and operational outcomes, will only be available once the mission concludes. As this is standard practice, the department will institute boards of inquiry to investigate and report on all operational aspects, including any casualties sustained. That is the standard practice, not a new thing. These findings are crucial to ensuring that we learn and improve from each deployment. We anticipate that Parliament will, in due course, engage on the matter of mortalities. We share in the sorrow of every family and community affected, and we remain committed to transparency and accountability in this regard. We also recognize the interest of South African public in understanding the financial implications of the deployment, and in particular, the cost associated with the eventual return of our troops. The Chief of Joint Operations will speak on this matter in more detail, including the projected expenditures, hopefully, and the responsibilities for covering these costs. In conclusion, as the ministry, we remain steadfast in our commitment to ensuring that all operations are conducted in full compliance with the Public Finance Management Act and other applicable financial regulations. We are acutely aware of the challenges the department has faced in the past, especially in relation to logistical delays in troop deployments to the DRC. These must not be allowed to repeat themselves. Strengthening our systems and capabilities is a non-negotiable priority. Finally, I wish to thank the committee for its continued oversight and support. The men and women of the SANDF continue to serve this country with honor and courage, often under extremely difficult circumstances. We owe it to them and to the South African people to ensure that their sacrifices are matched by sound governance and effective leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. I think members of the committee appreciate your opening remarks. All the issues that you have raised, our support for our men and women in uniform, the inquiries that will be conducted and reports thereof, all of the issues that you have raised, we really appreciate those opening remarks. I want to ask now General Ramanswana to lead the presentations.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Good morning, DMs. I'm sitting here with General Ramanswana, the Chief of Staff, and General Sangweni, the Chief of Joint Operations. and the acting CFO, Mr. Abotsi, and I'm Dr. Kamede, the acting Secretary for Defense. General Sangweni is going to take us through, and then we will then await the questions from the committee. Thank you, Chair.
General Sangweni, you may proceed.
Good morning, Chairperson and members of the committee, the Deputy Minister, the SANDF, and the Chief of Staff. I intend to go with the necessary speed, Chairperson. We are here to present, to brief the Joint Standing Committee on Defense and Military Veterans on the SANDF deployment in MONUSCO. Chairperson, you'll pardon me, I struggled to what really will be proper and adequate for the committee in their intent. Was the agenda just said the SANDF deployment in MONUSCO. I hope I'll do justice. You'll see a number of photos that you are going to use. Was the approach that I thought is the best, maybe or was intended, is that the SANDF bring to your attention or appraise the committee members, some who have not been exposed to these presentations previously, and the sort of detail of this MONUSCO deployment of the SANDF. There's a number of photos that I'm using to try and amplify. As you see, this one is our soldiers who are deployed in MONUSCO under the UN, what we call blue berets. And you see it down there at the bottom in that parade, Major General Dube.
General, we don't see the slides you are referring to. The slides are not moving.
From my side, it's moving. Chairperson, let us try and solve it.
Slides where you were talking to one slide and you were not moving it.
Yeah, you were not yet moved.
No, he said it doesn't see any.
No, just check. What can they see?
Chairperson, can you see?
Slide number 3.
We are still on the cover slide, unless I'm the only one who is struggling. I don't know what.
You are not, Chair. No, all of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
Can
We are on slide number 3. Just give them the slide number that we are on the same slide.
No, he said it's not moving because I moved to the photos.
It's okay. You may proceed. I think we will utilize the presentations as sent to us.
Looks like it's back.
Just indicate which slide you are on so that we are able to follow it.
We're on slide number 3, Chairperson.
Now we can see it, yes.
This system. Okay, thank you. The scope, very short, the background, and what about the detail now of Mistral? In terms of the background, Chairperson, we are saying South Africa or appraising the committee members that South Africa has participated in 16 peace missions since 1999. And South Africa's efforts to establish peace and security in Africa has become a key element of the government's our government's foreign policy. And we are currently one of the largest contributors to peacekeeping missions globally. South African troops have served in United Nations as well as African Union and SADC missions in Burundi, Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, Liberia, Comoros, DRC, Sudan, and Mozambique, amongst others. Then we now zooming down to MONUSCO. Chairperson, maybe let me bring to your attention that you now hear the word MONUSCO, whereas the heading says Operation Mistral. In terms of the background, SANDF deploys and conducts operations outside the country in accordance with its international obligations mandate to contribute towards the attainment of security, peace, and stability in the region, the continent, and internationally. The SANDF has force elements deployed under the United Nations Stabilization Mission in the DRC, which is MONUSCO. The deployment is for a continuous period of 12 months. And the DoD code name for this operation in the DRC is Operation Mistral. That's why you'll hear me interacting between MONUSCO and Mistral. Here we are just fleshing the legal framework which guides us or authorizes us to conduct this deployment outside the country. And we are also saying the president, or confirming that the president is mandated to authorize the deployment of the SANDF for this operation, which is Operation Mistral. The SANDF always, we are confirming, Chairperson and members of the committee, that the SANDF always comply to the provisions of the set legal framework that guides us. With us, I think we omitted SecDef that we have our legal ops officer who then make sure that we do not deviate. Furthermore, in terms of the first elements of Mistral that are deployed in MONUSCO, currently we've got the Force Intervention Brigade, which is abbreviated as FIB. We also have the Tactical Intelligence Unit, the TIU, the Quick Reaction Force, QRF, as well as the Composite Helicopter Unit, CHU, and the SANDF Specialist Contingent, what we used to call SANDF. Chairperson and members of the committee will see Composite Helicopter Unit, the CHU is marked in red. The reason is that it is one of the units that the UN has decided that it must end its tour of duty or being part of MONUSCO. It was supposed to conduct a rotation now in May. Then in April, MONUSCO indicated that UNHQ has said this must not continue with the rotation. So the CHU is busy with closing down and returning back to South Africa, where we've got personnel and equipment, which is the aircraft. The standard spec is marked in blue and scratched up. We're just bringing to our attention that it's also one of the units that when UN started scaling down their footprint in DRC, where in many areas it was stabilized due to the effort also contributed by SANDF soldiers. Then there were units not only of the SANDF or of RSA, other countries as well, which then scaled down up to where now MONUSCO is in North Kivu, is deployed only in North Kivu. SANDF, I think 3 years, if not 4 years ago, it was one of them that were terminated. Similar, which is going to happen with the Composite Helicopter Unit. In terms of force elements as well, we are also bringing to our attention that besides those that are in the field who are deployed, we have posts of staff officers and military observers that are deployed as staff officers of the MONUSCO headquarters, as well as additionally elements of the EJVM, which is Extended Joint Verification Mechanism, of 2 members. These are allocated to South Africa, but all other countries that are, or many countries that are deployed in MONUSCO also have elements of EJVM and also elements of staff officers. The personal strength in terms of approved structure by the president of the country, the RSA battalion is total of 700, the QRF approved structure of 250, the TIU of 24, the CHU is 137. What I wish to bring into attention is the TIU. It is a unique approach. You'll see now South Africa has got 24 members, whereas the unit itself is got 40 members. The other members above 24 are soldiers of Tanzania. But there was an approach a few years ago wherein it was agreed that RSA as well as Tanzania be in one unit to give the total of 40. And it also assists to ensure that us in the region, in peacekeeping efforts, we work together and collaborate and are also able to work as one unit. I want to bring to the members of the committee the aspect of force preparation, where we are saying the units or elements are deployed for a period of 12 months tour of duty, and on end of period are relieved and rotated back to home base and hand over the bat to an incoming unit, which is still of the RSA. These units undergo extensive combat readiness training for a couple of months in preparation for the deployment. Those who are being identified to go and relieve those who are already on deployment. On completion of the combat readiness training, Chairperson, the units undergo a mission readiness training, which is called MRT, which focus the soldiers on the UN specifics of the particular deployment area and the situation in that deployment area. The combat readiness culminate with a mission readiness evaluation by the UN officials to validate our competence and readiness to do the task at hand in the mission area. The mission readiness training gets done in South Africa, and the UN send their experts in training to come and do scenarios and test if we are competent as per our mission readiness training, and we are able to do the job at hand. I want to say to the members of the committee, so far there's never where a unit of South Africa during preparation and evaluation by UN was found to have not made it. Because it does happen sometimes to other countries that UN will declare and say this unit is not ready and will not be allowed to go and deploy. Again, furthermore, we wish to bring to our attention the area of operations, meaning where are our soldiers deployed, their force disposition. This map, you'll see the arrow in red then blocking North Kivu. MONUSCO currently is only deployed in North Kivu. Previously, before the de-escalation or reducing the footprint, this almost entire map, MONUSCO were deployed and had a footprint. As an example, South Kivu, the Maniema province, Tanganyika province, and also up there to Kasai region, we were deployed as part of MONUSCO. Then MONUSCO started scaling down, and this way I brought in the issue that South Africa also had to scale down some of the units as per decision of the UN. But currently, now it is we are deployed in North Kivu. Furthermore, the map now is amplifying the deployment area in North Kivu, where you'll hear about the our unit that is based in Beni territory, there on top. And then when you go down, you'll see the arrow also pointing Goma. So there's a distance between Beni and Goma. The MONUSCO force headquarters is in Goma because Goma is a city in the Eastern DRC. Other elements are in Beni. The main contingent of the RSA is positioned in Beni, in Mavivi airport base, where we have the RSA battalion with the TIU, the QRF, and the AMET, which is the Air Medical Evacuation Team. And then down south of North Kivu, it is the CHU and AMET, which are in Goma, and the MONUSCO force headquarters. With the battle in Goma, MONUSCO ended up moving their staff officers who are at the force headquarters up now to Beni. There's very little footprint in Goma except the few elements of CHU as well as QRF of MONUSCO, which are in Goma. The current situation, Chairperson and members of the committee, we are saying currently our RSA battalion in the FIB is deployed across the area of operations with 2 subunits in forward operating bases with priority tasks of offensive and defensive operations in support of the FARDC. FARDC is the Republic of Congo's military for protection of civilians, blocking positions, escort duties, patrols, and area domination. The FIB does not only have 2 subunits, which we have now indicated. The 3rd subunit is at the RSA Battalion HQ, conducting base defense and in the area, and then they rotate the 2 in front. Then the 1 in base will also rotate and go to the front. There's also within the subunits deployments in sub units, which we did not go to that detail. Also in Beni, this include also the TIU, the QRF, and AMET. The RSA QRF, which is primary position of deployment is in Beni. We are bringing it to saying as from last year, October.
Can the honorable member switch off? Please, can we all ensure that we are turned off, we are muted, except the presenter? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are saying the RSA QRF of MONUSCO has been deployed in Goma areas as from 2024, which is the same areas of operations of SAMIDRC. You then see South Africa having a QRF of MONUSCO wearing blue berets in the same area, as well as a QRF of RSA in SAMIDRC wearing the green beret, working together. Furthermore, we are saying South Africa deployed soldiers have made a significant and recognized contribution and impact in their area of operations in the DRC since setting their first foot in DRC for the conduct of peace support operations, specifically in the key task of protection of civilians. I will say with pride, Chairperson, members of the committee, that we are really recognized. When there's displacement of population and the running away, they tend to rush to and run to the SANDF bases, and we've done quite a lot in terms of getting the recognition under difficult circumstances. We are further saying this led to the United Nations HQ in New York in 2013 to mandate the MONUC, then what is now called MONUSCO, previously was called MONUC, the MONUSCO Force Intervention Brigade, the FIB, to have a mandate for offensive operations under UN Chapter 7, which is unique. Does not get declared and provided by the UN easily so. The units or the mission and the units thereof would have done extensively well to be trusted by the UN with Chapter 7 mandate. The Chapter 7 mandate, it authorizes that what peacekeepers are supposed to be defensive and protection only. With Chapter 7, it allows that we can conduct offensive operations and attack, which is very rare for based on the situation and the reason. The MONUSCO FIB is composed of, we're bringing to attention that is composed of the Republic of South Africa, the Republic of United Republic of Tanzania, as well as Malawi soldiers. Again, a demonstration of SADC collaboration and working together. Like I said, there's one unit which the elements are in one. Also, the FIB as a whole, the Force Intervention Brigade, is composed of these SADC elements. Here is a picture as we are going to the conclusion for the committee members to see their soldiers of South Africa in action. You'll see here your soldiers, women, young and old, and in such a difficult and complex situation, but they are renowned to do their work successfully. Just bring to your attention as we are closing, the impact of armed conflicts during complex conflicts. Here, the breakdown of rule of law and governments. These pictures are not just fake pictures, is reality which happens in peace keeping or peace support operations, specifically in the DRC. These photos are in the DRC, is where your soldiers, men and women, are deployed and are faced with this, and they have to make a difference, and they are making a difference. Humanitarian crisis, where there's displacement of populations, the IDPs and refugees, our soldiers, like I said, when they see a vehicle of South Africa and a base of South Africa, they'll tend to run to that base. Again, conflicts bring increased mortality. As you can see, the photos down there at the bottom of what happens in those areas, and then you see UN vehicles there taking this, and mainly for the members of the committee chairperson to see again your soldiers wearing blue, wearing the RSA flag, and making a difference in such a situation. The breakdown of family bonds, where you'll find child soldiers. Chairperson, arriving at the end, again, the issue of women in peacekeeping. South Africa is one of those who are renowned that we are one of those who are in the top 3, if I'm not mistaken, or top 4 in terms of the numbers of female or women soldiers in peacekeeping, and we are proud of that. This is the end of the first presentation, Chairperson. I hope you'll allow us to go through all the 3.
Yes, I suggest you do, and members are taking notes for any questions.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are still loading, Chairperson. Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. I believe it's visible. We are now presenting the withdrawal of SAMIDRC.
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are here today to present to the Joint Standing Committee on Defense and Military Veterans the SAMIDRC withdrawal from the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo mission areas, meaning mission areas where we are assigned to deploy as SAMIDRC. We are saying the DOD we are bringing to the attention of the committee that the DOD as a key participant in the SAMIDRC, hereby update its Joint Standing Committee and the public on the recent mission undertaken to put into action an orderly withdrawal of SAMIDRC force elements out of the SAMIDRC mission area in the Eastern DRC. Our thinking, Chairperson, was that this is required by the committee because of the consent from the committee and South Africans after the heads of state had taken a decision that with the mission, the mission must be terminated and the force elements must withdraw. So we've tried to compress it as short as possible, just focusing on the withdrawal aspects. We are saying this is following the directive by the Extraordinary Summit of SADC heads of state and government, which was held virtually.
General, please make sure that your slides are moving as well.
Okay, it's giving me the problem again. Let us sort it out again, Chairperson.
For some authority. No, that's upper copper. That's
upper
copper.
Now it's there on top. Or it should go on top.
Just go.
Confirm, Chairperson. And members of the committee.
Yes, now we can see you on slide 4.
Yeah.
Thank you. The decision by the, let me go one back. Sorry. We are just confirming that the heads of state, inclusive of the extraordinary meeting of the defense ministers, that decision to terminate the mission and undertake the withdrawal of the SAMIDRC troops and equipment back to their home bases. Then is that number 4. We're saying this decision was further put into action. I want to be emphatic on that one because there was quite a lot of concerns that the movement is not seen by the people of South Africa as well as members of the committee. What happened then is that this decision was further put into action by the SADC senior military leadership, which are the chiefs of defense forces of the troop contributing countries, plus the SADC Troika, as well as the director of the SADC organ Troika, who then undertook a high-level visit to Goma to have engagement with the M23 senior military leadership face to face. And I tend to say, Chairperson, that meeting was a deal breaker. That meeting was a deal breaker to expedite and to get where we are today in terms of the withdrawal. The engagements in that meeting came out with concrete agreements and commitments by both parties, which is the M23, as well as SAMIDRC, to create appropriate conditions for the safe and secure withdrawal of the SAMIDRC force elements. The outcomes of the deliberations and agreements, as you are aware, were formally made public knowledge by means of a communique that was agreed upon and signed by both parties, which is the SADC and M23. Chairperson and members of the committee, one of the key enablers discussed and agreed in that meeting was the issue that for the relatively quick and smooth withdrawal movement of personnel and equipment, it was necessary to fix the Goma airport to the level of functionality, as it was dysfunctional since the Battle of Goma. There was agreement between us as and the M23. They supported that proposal. However, when we had to commence with fixing of the airport, then certain other challenges came into play, and it then delayed or stalled the expedited or intended expedited withdrawal. Subsequently, the SADC Chiefs of Defense Forces, when they felt that it is now being there's a delay in actioning, or not rather actioning, in the approach of using air transportation to move in and out of Goma of the equipment. They then convened a special meeting on an urgent basis on the 11th of April, which was held in Tanzania. The meeting resolved that an alternative approach is necessary for the withdrawal to take place, other than the initial one of purely by air transportation. A decision was arrived at to explore the option of withdrawal movement by road out of the mission area. In our plannings, it was always the option one, the best option, quicker would have been by air. Option two was by road. When then we felt, the chiefs of the felt that there were delays, and then they took the initiative and went to the much more difficult one of withdrawal by road movement. Then in that meeting, the United Republic of Tanzania offered certain areas of Tanzania that are not too far from Goma and can be used for the road movement to Tanzanian territory and further to the TCC's home bases by air and sea where applicable. This offer was accepted and agreed upon, and the SADC organ secretariat further undertook an engagement whilst they were there in Tanzania with Rwanda to request Rwanda to allow and support the road movement through the Rwanda territory from Goma to Tanzania. The reason for this, chairperson, was that when you are in Goma and you need to go by road to Tanzania, you have to exit at the border post and in Goma and get into Rwanda territory and drive by road up until you get to another border post with Tanzania, and then you get into Tanzania. So Rwanda had to be engaged by the SADC secretariat. And we are saying the SADC organ engagement was successfully achieved, with Rwanda agreeing and committing to support the SADC movement of SAMIDRC withdrawing troops and military equipment from Goma and Sake through a designated route via Rwanda territory. For understanding, it is most of the time is standard protocols. When military equipment or asset had to move through a certain country, you have to seek appropriate authorities. That's what the SADC did with Rwanda for them to allow us and support the movement through their territory. After that success, the CDF's meeting thereof directed that a technical reconnaissance and planning team comprising of members from the 3 TCCs, as well as the SADC Secretariat, to convene urgently to conduct a comprehensive technical ground reconnaissance of this route that were offered by Tanzania and all other related issues. The planning team priority mission was aimed at assessing the safety and security of that route, the infrastructure readiness in that areas, as well as logistical capacity for strategic routes and facilities to support the withdrawal operations. Because you need logistical capacity immediately you get into the territory of Tanzania. We are saying the recce and assessment was conducted successfully with objectives to determine a suitable and secure route for movement, as well as staging areas for SAMIDRC personnel and cargo out of Goma to the various TCC home bases. Also to determine a suitable and secure route for the road, air or sea movement of equipment and personnel out of Tanzania back to their home bases, as well confirming that the recce was successful and the objectives were achieved. And we are saying thereof, the withdrawal plan by the SADC force headquarters has commenced and is in action accordingly as we speak. It was based on the reconnaissance that was conducted, as well as because, for instance, when you get into Tanzania territory, Tanzania will be at home. They'll then travel to their own bases in Tanzania. Malawi, when you get into Tanzania territory, there is road movement that they undertake to drive up until Malawi. South Africa, unfortunately, is a different case. Then it requires projection of personnel and equipment out of Tanzania, not by road, but by air and sea movement. As we indicated there, it was determined by the recce team. Then a bit of detail. When, as I said, sorry. As I said, that the withdrawal has commenced, then we are amplifying that the movement by road from Goma through Rwanda and on entering the URT territory at the border post, the convoys of cargo trucks continue to a dedicated assembly area or transit camp in Tanzania, which was offered by Tanzania. Then from the transit camp, the TCCs will be able to break away to their various bases and or countries. Then the RSA further movement from the transit camp is planned as follows. Like I said, that South Africa is a bit unique in this situation. The personnel and their personal cargo will be airlifted to the DOD MOP and DMOP Center in Bloemfontein, as well as to the Air Force Base Waterproof. The main equipment will be projected by sea to the port of Dar es Salaam, from the transit camp to the port of Dar es Salaam, and further to the port of Durban, where after the port of Durban, on arrival in Durban, be moved further by rail to the DOD MOP and DMOP Center in Bloemfontein. Chairperson, maybe let me take this opportunity, members of the committee, because the presentation is compressed. to bring to your attention that when the personnel are then airlifted to South Africa from Tanzania, obviously there is a chartering of aircraft, and obviously it will lead to a group that will go first, and then followed by another group, followed by another grouping. We will not be able to project them at the same time. We must take cognizance that it might take some time for all the personnel to be back in South Africa, which for many of us is priority. Our people want to see the soldiers back, as well as the committees and also the SANDF. But I want to impress that it might not be as quick as we would wish to. But what happens then is that on arrival, the first grouping will be attended to accordingly, and on completion, then they'll go back to their unit, and then the next unit arrive. There is a program, Chairperson and members of the committee, that we have set, wherein the personnel, when on arrival, they undergo an extensive demobilization in the social, psychosocial, and post-trauma environment. That program is led by the SG of the SANDF. Our approach is to try and bring in these soldiers who are coming from battle, to try and make them to be at ease, to integrate easily within normal situation here in South Africa, whether at home, in their communities, or in our military bases. Now, coming to the end, we are now appraising the committee regarding the latest update. The Chief of the National Defence Force, rather, the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, as well as the Chief of the National Defence Force, had a media briefing on Sunday, where they were appraising the public on the update. Similar, what you are presenting today is what the Minister of Defence and Chief National Defence Force shared with the people of South Africa. Just to go through it for those who might have not been part of the media briefing. An advanced group, as from the 28th when it commenced. Remember,
Chairperson.
Yes.
The slide on display is withdrawal 2 to 7, and I think the general is now already at slide 10, progress to date, and we missed about 5 or 6 slides in between. I just want to bring that under your attention.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Hatting. I noted that. I just assumed that they are experiencing some technical problems. And the slides have been resent to our WhatsApp group for members to try and follow, because it seems that we are going to experience this problem. I hope it doesn't continue. I will just ask the generals to ensure that we, on the slide presentation here on the platform, we are able to flight the slides for all members to be able to share. So we've missed a few slides, but the presentation has been resent by Nandi to our WhatsApp group. And for those who are on emails, it's also there.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have reset again. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are in the last slide, slide number 10. As you said, the members of the committee have the presentation. Slide number 10, we are just confirming the progress to date. As from the 28th of April, the first advanced group convoy of trucks and personnel, inclusive of the all 3 TCCs, departed Goma and arrived safely at URT territory and began establishing the transit camp. The second convoy departed Goma on the 4th of May and arrived safely on the 7th of May in the transit camp. The third convoy departed Chairperson, departed yesterday morning and then arrived this morning in the transit camp, and continuously further convoys are planned to follow suit on several dates to come. We are also confirming, Chairperson, that the first group of personnel by air is scheduled for withdrawal on dates to be confirmed. Why are we saying this? SADC is the one that are responsible for the logistics of this withdrawal, the securing of air assets. They've done it. However, what is outstanding is the specific dates when these aircrafts or airlines are available to project the personnel to South Africa. That's why we are saying on dates still to be confirmed. This is the end of the report, Chairperson and members of the committee. We then go into the third one, which is the last one. Thank you, Chairperson. The system indicates that the members of the committee can see the participants. This is a very short presentation, Chairperson, wherein the committee has an approach that the DOD come and present and amplify the presidential authority for deployment of forces, whether inside or outside the country. In this case in point, it is Presidential Force Employment Authority Extension for Operation Copper. The aim is to present to the Joint Standing Committee the Presidential Authority for the extension of the employment of Operation Copper. In the next 2 slides, will be bring to the committee members a compressed narrative which allows the president to apply his mind and approve the deployment. We are saying we are confirming that the president has authorized the extension of the employment of the SANDF for service in fulfillment of an international obligation of the RSA towards this SADC maritime security strategy in order to counter the threat of piracy and other related illegal maritime activities for a period of 12 months from the 1st of April 2025 until the 31st of March 2026 under Operation Copper. We are saying over the past few years, maritime piracy has migrated from the Somali waters down south to the Mozambique Channel, the Republic of South Africa, and other countries on the southern part of the Indian Ocean have over the past few years noted with concern that the scourge of piracy is extending towards South Africa. Maritime piracy remains a threat to all countries sharing sea borders in the Indian Ocean. Joint and combined efforts have been developed in line with the SADC maritime security strategy to monitor and deter the threat, as well as to improve the safety at sea for the coastal countries, including South Africa. We are quite well aware that South Africa is one of the maritime nations. There's quite a lot of our trade that goes through by sea, and by that it is expressly required that our seas are safe and secure in order to allow free trade through various countries. The shift in piracy activities to the SADC territory in particular has a potential to undermine and seriously affect the South African economy negatively. In response to this threat of piracy, the SANDF is deploying naval force elements and capabilities in support of the SADC maritime security strategy. The SANDF forces to be deployed consist up to 200 personnel with a total estimated cost of 61 million. The expenditure for this deployment can be accommodated in the DoD allocation of 2025-2026. This is the end of the report, Chairperson and members of the committee.
Thank you very much, General, for the presentation. I will now open the floor for questions and comments. We have two hands at the moment. I'm aware others are going to come. I think, honorable members, we will request that we ask our questions and make our comments as briefly as possible, so that we can take a round of responses. Ideally, I would prefer that a member asks questions, and we've tried to deal with this. I know we had said in the committee we would discuss it and establish a procedure in the future, and I hope we will find opportunity to do that, so that we allow each member, a specific amount of time, let's say 5 minutes, for you to ask your questions and be responded to, get your follow-up question, if any, and we move to the next member, because it will make us economical, and it will, I think it will fulfill the expectations of every member in terms of how they want to deal with this, with their questions in the committee. For now, we have 4 members. I'm going to take those members in that order. We will get responses to those 4 members. Honorable Hatting, followed by Honorable Swart, followed by Honorable Hala, followed by Honorable Nui. And then we will get responses. After that, we will take Honorable Godsell and Honorable Shelembe in that order. Honorable Hatting.
Thank you, Chairperson. And thank you also for listening to our appeals about the responses on questions. May I perhaps suggest that we number the questions, because there is a history that questions simply fall off the table and do not get responded to verbally or later in writing. Chair, going to the MONUSCO deployment. And we also note the composite helicopter unit. I would like to know, while we're now in withdrawal stages, if we can get more information.
Honorable Hatting, your line was a bit bad, and I think we missed part of what you were saying. So could you just start afresh with your questions?
All right. Do you wish me to?
You froze a bit, so we missed what you were saying.
Okay. Perhaps I should put my video off. Thank you, Chair. My first question is then on the withdrawal of the composite helicopter unit and obviously the helicopters. I would like to know, firstly, we've seen in the past that there were short payments on contracts from the United Nations, and they were based on the unserviceability, unavailability of equipment that we should have contractually supplied. I would like to know whether the withdrawal of the helicopters also is because of the lack of serviceability and availability of the helicopters. Secondly, we know that there were 3 Oryx helicopters in North Kivu. 2 of them were flown late January to Beni, and I believe they are still at Beni or perhaps in Uganda. What will be the fate of those 2 helicopters? Secondly, I would like to know the helicopter that was damaged in combat on the 2nd of or the 4th of February in 2024, which is still at Goma. What will happen to that helicopter? That's the Oryx 1247. How will those helicopters get out of wherever they are now and back to South Africa? Also, with regards to Oryx 1247, I would like to know why that also brought back.
Honorable Hattin, we can't hear you. Your network is bad. Hello, Honorable Hattin. Yes, your network is very bad. We heard your second question about how the Oryx helicopters that are in Goma and elsewhere will be withdrawn and brought back. Your third question, we haven't heard it. You are breaking very badly. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Chair. He's been. Oh, I think he's not muted, but we can't hear him.
Chair, okay, can you just repeat your last question, please?
So
I lost you. I think there's a problem with the signal.
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you well.
Yes, I was saying we heard your second question about the Oryx helicopters, but after that we couldn't hear you because you were breaking badly. Yeah.
Right. So my question is then about the damaged helicopter, which was damaged in February 2024, Oryx 1247, which is still at Goma Airport. I would like to know how that helicopter will come back to South Africa. And why didn't it come back with the other 2, with the Rooivalk helicopters? Then, Chair, I would also like to know where are the elements of the composite helicopter unit? Are there some on Beni? Are there some in Lubumbashi, Goma? Where are they? And how will they get out of the North Kivu area? Chair, moving on to the withdrawal, the SAMIDRC deployment. The mention was made by the General of various reasons why Goma Airport could not be used. We know that it's not substantially damaged. We know that it's blocked by vehicles. Is the reason there not rather a political one? That the airport is being controlled and blocked by M23, who will not allow any air flights into or out of Goma. Is that not really the reason, making it very difficult for us to get our equipment and our soldiers out of the DRC? I would also like to know, there were various pieces of information about some of our troops being flown to Lubumbashi. I would like to know whether there are troops in Lubumbashi, and if they are, what is their status? Are they part of SAMIDRC? Were they part of SAMIDRC, or were they part of the MONUSCO deployment? And if they were there, what happened to them, or what will happen to them? Then my last question on the further deployment of the 200 soldiers, I would like to know whether there are any equipment requirements. We know that we suffer from serviceability and availability of main battle equipment. What is the contractual obligations with us with this Operation Copper? What do we need to supply to support our soldiers? Or what type of equipment and is it available? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we then go to Honorable Swart?
Chairperson, may I thank you firstly and greet all the members. I would like to turn my camera off just for connectivity, if I may.
Absolutely.
Chair, thank you for the briefing, starting with the Deputy Minister. And I think from our perspective, we definitely do welcome ceasefire. We welcome all the efforts by our leaders, by our military leaders, by our political leaders to reach the ceasefire. Obviously, a lot of questions have arisen in the past and will arise going forward, which we in the committee have also discussed whether we should have a parliamentary oversight investigation. I know the General indicated there will be boards of inquiry, but I still think we need to look in particular at the Battle of Goma. And in that regard, Chairperson, I noted the reports relating on the MONUSCO issue and the composite helicopter unit. And I would just like clarity. I presume that refers to the Oryx helicopters and not to Royvalk helicopters, which we know made a significant impact in the DRC in 2014 when they were first deployed in a combat role ever, very successful, and again 2020. But our understanding is they were not used due to operational issues in the Battle of Goma. And would the generals agree that had they been deployed, it could have been a great difference in the outcome of that battle and the tragic loss of our troops? Chairperson, one also picks up from media reports that a lot of our soldiers were injured through shrapnel, and one presumes that through artillery and mortars, and that very few were actually injured, or I don't know to what degree. We've got all the details about those that were killed through shrapnel or bullets, but does that indicate that possibly, and again, these are operational issues which the generals might not wish to comment on, but just that our defensive positions when it came to shrapnel and mortars were not up to standard? Thirdly, again, I'd like to comment again on the issue of resources. And we, from our perspective, have over the years had great sympathy for the under-resourcing of the SANDF. This is a matter that has received a lot of political attention. And this is a difficult question, but I do want the generals to respond, and possibly the Deputy Minister, that should there have been additional resources employed, such as the logistics, such as serviceable helicopters, that the outcome of the Battle of Goma might have been different. Again, Chairperson, I want to emphasize the gratitude that the ceasefire has achieved, but it seems to have been under very difficult conditions. And it seems that, in effect, the Battle of Goma resulted in the M23 rebels overrunning and almost surrounding our troops, which were to a certain degree almost held captive or as hostages, as some would indicate. Chairperson, as far as the withdrawal, and I will start concluding, is concerned, I noted the General indicated that, and we appreciate that we have got a lack of capacity, but at some stage I'm sure we'd want a briefing on the cost of the charters for flights. And one presumes that, as the Chief of the Defence Force indicated, not a pin will be left behind, that there'll be significant costs with ships. One then asks the question, whether it is expected that any of our Air Force logistics planes will be able to be used. We understand the one C-130 is busy with operational serviceability at Waterkloof. Is it possible that any of our C-130s could be used to save costs in that regard? Lastly, whether it was a consideration to allow our troops to fly out from a Rwanda airport, given the fact that the additional distance to Tanzania could incur further risks. But one appreciates that it was Tanzania, Malawi, and South Africa that formed the basis of the SAMIDRC mandate. So, Chairperson, with those comments, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Honorable Hala.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable members. Morning, Deputy Ministers, Generals, and staff members. Chair, I would recommend that we accept and welcome the presentation by the Generals, because all of us here have been in the dark of what was happening and is happening in DRC. Because none of us in this committee have been to DRC. We're all living in rumors. And Chair, I must also say that we are all happy that none of our soldiers have defected to the side of the enemy. My question, Chair, is which defense force is reconstructing the Goma airport? Two, could the Generals brief us about the morale of our soldiers? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hala. Let's take Honorable Godsell. I think because we have two other hands up, we will go straight to until Honorable Hala, and then we will take the responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm just showing my face, and then I'll put the video off for bandwidth. To the Deputy Minister who said right from the beginning that he speaks on behalf of the Ministry, I just once again want to reiterate my dissatisfaction with the fact that the Minister could not, for this very important meeting, make herself available. But seeing as the Deputy Minister is speaking on behalf of the Ministry, Deputy Minister, I would like firstly to get an answer on the following question, and it's quite an important one. And if you feel the need to give an explanation of how this is set out, you're welcome to. Otherwise, maybe just a yes or a no. The question is whether you believe that it is fair for the South African National Defence Force troops to receive only a fraction of that 108,000 Rand which the SADC contributes per soldier, while our soldiers are risking their lives under the same conditions as better paid regional counterparts. I'd also like to know whether you can give us some clarity as to whether the first troops who are now scheduled to depart have even been moved from Goma. I know you said there was no real time frame, but I really think you could possibly try and do a bit better there. Then who is paying for the repatriation, and how much is this going to cost all in all? And apart from the 14 lives that we have lost, I'd also like to know how much equipment was lost in this mission. If you're not able to give that as an immediate answer, will you please undertake to answer this in writing? And then either to the Chief or to the, or I think the Deputy Minister again, it was alluded in the presentation by the General, it was alluded to the press conference which was held by the SANDF this past weekend, where they had claimed success. Now, Honorable Swart had spoken about preparedness, and Honorable Hatting had also spoken about air support. I'm concerned that in parliamentary questions, because you will recall that in previous meetings, not all questions were answered, and I think that's why Honorable Hatting had asked whether we could number these questions. But in a parliamentary question that I posed to the Minister, she said that the President took a political decision to extend the deployment in the DRC. But the President then, in response to a parliamentary question that I posed to him, says, at the time of the deployment of the SAMIDRC, we had made sure that the SANDF had, amongst others, enough equipment, weapons, and ammunition to live up to the stated SADC mandate. So I would like to know whether the ministry acknowledges that the brave men and women of the SANDF were deployed into a high-risk conflict zone whilst they were under-resourced and under-equipped and without adequate air or logistical support, and that failure lies in the political directive and not in the, in any other conduct. And that, I think, is the most important question, whether the Deputy Minister there also, he can just say yes or no. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Godsell. Let me take Honorable Shalembe, followed by Honorable Pala, Honorable Noon. I see Honorable Sokanyile's hand has been dropped. I don't know whether...
No, it's not withdrawn. It's my gadget. Sorry, Chairperson, for interrupting you.
Okay. No, you are still noted. But after Honorable Pala, I will allow for responses as I had promised. Then
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
I don't know who is Zoom user, so...
Honorable Chair, it's Honorable Tiale. My sincere apology. My gadget is acting up this side. I just need to request the Honorable Chair to note me. I'm unable to raise my hand, but I have a few questions to ask. Please.
Okay. So, Honorable Tiale from EFF will come after Honorable Sokanyile. So, that's fine. You're noted.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Especially, the report that has been presented to us as, the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Also, the introductory remarks and comment and input from the Deputy Minister, General Olomiso. We really appreciate, he's always present, in the meeting. It helps a lot. Chair, coming, to the issue, I think, as I've said now, one appreciates the presentation has been done by General Sangweni, especially with regard to the withdrawal of our soldiers from the DRC to South Africa. Also noting, the successful and fruitful discussion by Troika. My question would be, if we speak of Troika, if I'm correct, are we speaking of South Africa, Tanzania, and Malawi? I just want to confirm that, but I'm clear with the issue of Tanzania is always mentioned. To say now, who are those, in the Troika? And secondly, I'm trying to find, the picture here, because it seems that the discussion, especially with regard to the ceasefire and also with regard to the withdrawal, I can see the involvement of the senior leadership from the M23 with, these, countries as mentioned. I'm trying to see
where is the DRC government? I mean, in this case, where is the DRC? I'm trying to see, because to me, we are, in DRC, and those discussion with Troika is the DRC representative from the DRC represented other than the M23 senior leadership. And the second question, Chair, given that, the of the SANDF is effectively, to reinforce, resupply, and extract, of our SAMIDRC forces now following the M23 advance in Goma. I'm trying to find out now, how will, the forces forming part of the Operation Mistral, which is, under the United Nations, I think, control, or, where, they are getting the support. Should any violence after, am I still audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah. Now I'm trying, to find out now, should, the violence in the DRC after the withdrawal of our soldiers, how can we guarantee the safety of our soldiers, under Operation MONUSCO, considering the equipment? Can we confirm that, the United Nations will make sure that, our soldiers, they are fully equipped or are ready, for anything to happen? Because now the South Africans, when they are not clear of the difference between Operation Tiba and Operation Misra. Now the question, what they know is that our soldiers are coming back from the DRC, but they are not sure or aware that they are, still as soldiers under MONUSCO staying there. What is the good reason, to have soldiers under SAMIDRC withdrawn, to our country, and those soldiers under the Operation Mistral are still to stay there? And Chair, also, looking, to the issue of the movement of the equipment. I know that includes a lot. That is, if you speak of, armament, you speak of, the big items under. I'm trying to see, because the issue of, the weapons, especially the firearms and ammunition, can it be confirmed that, when it comes to comparing the stock take, how much, especially I'm talking to the firearms that, were sent to be used by our soldiers, in the DRC, and how many, are still available to be brought back, so that at least we know that, we move so much equipment there, and then we receive so much, back, and then the difference, and then what are we doing to it? Especially the firearms are very, very dangerous, because those firearms can be stolen from there and also being brought also to our country, as you know that our borders are pouring, and get into the country and use, for any type, of crime. So I think, Chair, for now, let me say, no, thank you, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shalembe. Honorable Phala, you will be the last for this round, so that we take the answers, then the other members, the three other members I've noted will come here up.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, honorable members, and good morning to our deputy ministers. Good morning to the acting SecDef and the Chief of Staff and the CJ Ops. Thank you, CJ Ops, for your presentation. We really appreciate it. We welcome it. We welcome the update on all the deployments. And these were our matters of concern to us and matters of concern to the people of this country. And you have really spoken very clear about it. And let me as well thank Deputy Minister Holomisa for his opening remarks. He really indicated that our ministers are in charge of this situation. They really understand what's happening. Chairperson, my question would be directed to the deputy ministers and the SANDF. That in terms of the deployment, the CJ Ops has spoken clear in terms of the legality, which is based on the Constitution and the Defense Act provisions. So he was very clear on that. My issue of concern to Deputy Minister and the acting SANDF in terms of the policies is the legality with regard to SADC, AU, and the African Union and the United Nations. That we know that the security challenges in the Great Lakes are not primarily militarily, but largely political, social, and economic in nature. That is poverty and underdevelopment are at the heart of the region's conflicts. So my issue, Deputy Ministers and SANDF, are these bodies, that is the SADC, African Union, and United Nations, are they insist on the challenges in the Great Lakes? Are there plans to ensure that the Great Lakes is stable and the people in that area find peace among themselves, like in other African country? That is my question, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have 4 honorable members whose hands I've noted. I will allow the responses to the first questions that have been asked. But I have noted 27 questions which have been asked. So can we come back to you? I don't know, Deputy Minister, whether you will start or whether you will want the general.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
I'll start, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you very much. The issue related to the amount paid to our troops, the CFO and the Acting Secretary for Defense will address that. Insofar as who is going to pay for Goma, we must also remember that this operation is not a South African operation only, for South African operation only, but it's a SADC operation. And if I recall, in one of the meetings of the leaders, they had agreed to all those who were involved, to all SADC countries, to foot the bill of withdrawing our troops. Once more, we will depend, therefore, on the briefing by the Chief of the Defense Force, as well as the accounting officer, who is then acting SANDF, Secretary for Defense. Insofar as the movement of equipment, I did hint to you in my opening remarks that the costing of the whole exercise will be given in detail to the leadership of the Defense Force first. For instance, here you don't have the Chief of Logistics in this meeting, who would have given details of such, but we must appreciate the questions you have asked. That will help us when we are doing a debrief which may lead to us resolving that. Let us have a board of inquiry if there are gray areas. So even the question of the success, whether this operation was a success or not, is still too early, because we are not working alone. The Secretariat for SADC has to say something about this operation. We may say it was not a success, and then the SADC leadership says, where did you get the mandate to say so? But I appreciate these questions because they are going to help us when we get a full briefing after the withdrawal of our troops. For finances, I'm sure the leadership of the defense, they have heard me when I said, whatever cent we are going to spend, make sure that it is within the framework of our policies in South Africa, PFMA in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. SANDF, General Sangweni, and other colleagues, you can come in now.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, once more, and members of the committee. I'll allow General Sangweni to answer certain questions, especially those on the serviceability of equipment and the availability of certain equipment that was supposed to be used. And the Chief of Staff will also take some. The questions on the expenditure, we do have a detailed a report on the expenditure that we can provide, what we have used over the years or in this financial year. We're just busy with our wrapping up the financial statements, but we will be able to have all that information in writing on the expenditure. You can say. General Ramansane?
Chairperson, thank you very much. I am going to start in reverse order, Chair, with the last question that was asked. That is with regards to if there are plans to ensure that the people in the Great Lakes will be secured. What has been pleasing, Chairperson, is the fact that when the agreement was reached for a withdrawal from the mission, there was also a commitment that came with that. And that commitment was the one that says that diplomatic engagements to ensure that there is peace in that environment should therefore then continue. And that being agreed by the role players who have been part of these discussions. So that is what we can say for now, to say that at least for us is pleasing. To say that any other security developments and security challenges with these diplomatic engagements, those issues will then be monitored and followed up from time to time. Then there was a question by Honorable Shilembe, that is the movement of equipment. How much of the firearms were taken on the other side and how much are to be brought back? Honorable Shilembe and I think honorable members, it is not an easy question for us to respond sitting here, to say how much were taken and how much are going to be brought back. Suffice to say that these are accounting issues by our logisticians. They are all documented in our books. and documented as they are, as we packing our bags to come back, we have sent a team of logisticians to do due diligence in terms of this very withdrawal. And we will recall that the Chief of the Defense Force himself did mention to say that whatever that is there, we are going to be bringing back all our equipment, whatever that is there. So rest assured, Honorable Shelembe, that is under control. We know what we have taken out, and we will know what we are then supposed to bring back to the country. Then there was also a question that talks to, given the fact that the SANDF should, with regards to violence, what then happens? How then do we protect our soldiers that are in MONUSCO? First of all, they are deployed as part of the whole of the mission under the United Nations mission, with its command structures that are there, with its intelligence structures, and they will be able to make decisions. To say, therefore, then we are confronted with this situation on the ground, and then how do we deal with that type of a situation? It is an operational matter. Everyone deployed under MONUSCO, they are all soldiers entrusted with the responsibility to defend the civilians, and at the same time, these soldiers, they have the right to defend themselves and to protect themselves under the direction of the force commander assigned to lead the mission of the United Nations. There was a question that says, now in the whole, where is the DRC whilst we are doing this? I think, Chairperson, I wouldn't want to discuss other countries and other role players in these matters. But of course, the DRC being the host country, one would say that the high-level decisions that were reached included the role players, including the host country, being the Democratic Republic of Congo. So in that respect, there is a role which they have participated, and right now, when the decision was taken to say, we are going to ensure that there's further peace engagement in that part of the world, that engagement cannot take place for diplomatic talks, diplomatic engagements without the Democratic Republic of Congo. I think the one that was Honorable Godsell, this very one was not directed to ourselves. The last two comments that were made by Honorable Godsell, the one is how much is in terms of the loss of equipment. You are right, Honorable Godsell, when you say that if you may not have it now, surely we are deployed to conduct military operations. And to say off the cuff how much of the equipment have been destroyed, I won't be able to tell you this. And I think the best time that we will know is in relation to the question of Honorable Shilembe, of how much of the equipment were taken back. What is it that we have in stock? And then we can then see how much of this equipment have been damaged. Was this damaged because of combat action? Was this one, what happened? This one is normally just unserviceable. So that's how we are going to take stock in terms of this. You speak about an immediate answer. I think the immediate answer, Honorable, the best thing to do here is to check. It won't be immediate. We have to wait for the demobilization to take place. And only after the demobilization, we take stock of what we have in the mission area. At this stage, we don't want to overload the force commander or the contingent commander to be starting to be checking, to be giving us a report which we can get even after demobilization as a defense force. So we take note of of the concern that you have. I need to, there is another one that was asked by Honorable Gotzel, and this one talks to the allowance. Honorable Gotzel, I don't want to talk about the rands and cents, how much does each soldier get? Let me talk to you about the principle in terms of this. And the principle is very simple. The principle in terms of our soldiers, they get allowance when they are in the mission area. You've quoted 108. In the SANDF, there's too many diverse allowances. And I wouldn't want to dwell to the rand itself that you quoted. But they get a certain amount of money as an allowance while they are in the mission area. But the most of the monies which the soldiers get, it is put into their accounts back home here in South Africa. So that is how the allowances of our soldiers are managed. The reason for that is that you're not going to give the soldiers the entire allowances, and they are going to deploy in an area somewhere where by the time they come back here, this soldier has lost a lot of money for whatever reason. So we have to be cautious and look after them. We also become their welfare officers in that particular aspect to say, this is how we are going to manage the allowances of the soldiers. I do not know if from Honorable Gotzel I might have omitted something.
Paying for repatriation.
Oh, yes. Then, Honorable, thank you, General Sangweni. The payment for repatriation, I've just written who is paying. Honorable, the bringing back, the withdrawal itself, this is a SADC mission. And everything that we're talking about in terms of the withdrawal, it's under SADC. And whilst it is under SADC, experience has taught us, at some point, there will be one or two emergencies. It doesn't mean, as the SANDF, we may not incur a certain cost given a certain situation or a certain circumstance. We still have the responsibility to look after our soldiers. But talking about who's going to pay, overall, this is a SADC mission that then SADC as a whole will then be doing the rest of the payment. I am sorry, Honorable Swart. I will have to somewhat disappoint you and pardon me and forgive me. I know that Honorable Swart is a forgiving person. And I know that Honorable Swart, you represent the people of South Africa who will understand why I am saying what I'm saying. Honorable Swart, the issues that you have raised, they are seriously operational issues. And we have this committee, the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, including the South African National Defense Force, are aware of the processes and procedures that have been led, those that we can use, the mechanisms of parliament that are available for us to be handling certain matters. And I would like to refer these issues to those platforms. And again, I need to add the fact that we are better off to discuss the withdrawal, which is a topic that is being managed by SAMIDRC, and leave any other role player in the process. In withdrawing from DRC, there were options that were developed. These options, as developed, were appreciated and were agreed upon by the chiefs of the defense forces and have been supported as such. So I would want to pass this very point on that very note to say that, Honorable, your issues, we will be able to deal with them. Like I said, I've already said that my apology, and we need to deal with certain issues based on what has been provided for by our Honorable Parliament of South Africa. Can we use the 130? C-130? Oh, the usage of the C-130, at least this one, Honorable, I will be able to share with you. In terms of the usage of the C-130s, let's recall, we can use whatever we have as the SANDF. And this is the reason that I touched on the question by Honorable Godson that spoke about, no, sorry, I am mistaken, but let me rather respond. We can use the C-130, like I spoke about the issue of the cost. Whatever that we are going to fly, whatever that we are going to use, we are going to be incurring cost. While SADC is the responsible body for this particular operation. And therefore, as a result of that, whatever means that we have, circumstances are going to be assessed and evaluated to say, at what point are we going to be making use of our own, that which we have, in order to assist our soldiers moving out of certain areas. I am just going through my notes to check what now else is responsible. There was an issue around the morale of our soldiers. I needed to say it's a very interesting question that has been raised in terms of the morale of our soldiers. We right now, we're putting the very basics of things that pleases and make the life of our soldiers comfortable. And some of those things would relate to their well-being as they live in where they are right now, ensuring that they are not short of meals, ensuring that they can still maintain the good and the reciprocity in terms of what is it that they need. Some of the issues that, of course, which they will require is where they are, what keeps them going throughout the whole day, and those kind of things. And let me indicate this. There's something very interesting one has to mention. You know, with regards to the morale of our soldiers, I think so far it's the morale that I don't want to say it's high, but I want to say it's good. The reason for that, we've got soldiers that are currently injured and they came back, and as they came back here in South Africa, we go and visit them in the hospital and talk to them, and some have recovered. But you know, they think about their colleagues who are on the other side, and they wish to be with their colleagues once again. But where we are in a withdrawal mood. So we cannot afford them those opportunities to go back and to say to them, go and join your colleagues in the mission area. We just keeping them this side so that they will meet then their friends and their colleagues as soon as they are coming back. You know, just by the fact that you know where you are going with the mission, that is very important. It contributes to your morale. You may not be withdrawing immediately because these things have got time frames, but you can communicate to your family, and you can say to your family, I'll be seeing you, my kids, I'll be seeing you, whoever, if it's the wife, by that time. All these things, they do contribute so much to the welfare of, to the morale of the soldiers. Any operational matter, Honorable Hatting, I will not get into that. When we talk of whatever that we have deployed for SAMIDRC mission has been deployed, the soldiers deployed in the mission in the DRC, these are the soldiers that are for SAMIDRC mission. So let us leave it at that. I know exactly the question that you have asked, but I want to leave it at that. And you will understand, Honorable Hatting. I know these things are much easier for you to understand and to, in fact, support ourselves as the Defense Force. There was then a question that said, do we need equipment to support our OPCOPA? I hope I've gotten this question right. I am not sure. General Sangweni will help me here if I'm veering off. But with regards to Operation COPA, we don't need any, what can I say? They sail. It's long-range maritime patrol. They have to sail using the vessel. They conduct their operation in the mission area as deployed, and from there they withdrew. They will then come back. Of course, they will be assisted at some point if there is a need by the Mozambicans. They will then be assisted as well if there's a need by the Tanzanians. So this operation wouldn't actually need equipment separate from what they have in the vessel itself. So, but on this one, if I have not heard you correctly, Honorable Member, I would agree that General Sangweni should just try to support me in this case. Well, there was a question, I think it was Honorable Hatting again. Reason for not utilizing Goma. Goma for not utilizing the airport in Goma, I think. Did I document it correctly? Now, Honorable Hatting, let's accept one thing. As things are happening, there will be dynamics, and you will understand what I mean. We have developed options in the manner that we have developed them with the understanding of the situation that is happening in that particular area. And I want to request that we leave the matter on that, and to say that we have developed options and we chose to make use of the options that we have developed with the understanding of the dynamics. And I need to add to you, perhaps I'll complicate your understanding in terms of this, that as per the discussions, role players were very supportive of the decision of the withdrawal. They were very supportive in the manner in which the withdrawal has to be carried out. And I rather would want to leave it at that. Then a subject matter that talks to the current status, I think General Sangweni will assist me on this one. These are the issues around the helicopters in the deployment area. I don't know if there is any other issue that I would have left out. I don't think so, according to the list that we have. But just to ask General Sangweni to say something about and to add to any other aspect that I might have responded to. CJ, you are covered. Okay. So thank you very much, Chairperson. Those are the issues that we have we had to respond to. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson.
Yes. Is that
sorry for we left one question where I don't think we responded. It was from Honorable Khala. Deployment of SADC by role of SADC, UNAU in terms of stabilizing the Great Lakes.
Yes.
I think we should take note of this recommendation and convey to the leadership of South Africa so that in the forum of SADC and the East Africa community, they can table this and discuss it, but the whole thing would be, it should be included in the agenda of stabilizing the region with the sole aim of saying, guys, we have said, let's silence the guns. So there is a legitimate expectation on the part of the citizens of the Great Lakes that for the first time they will see an improvement in the economy, building of their infrastructure, and so on and so on. So let's let's accept this proposal, then we will refer it to the president. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we now take Honorable Noe, followed by Honorable Sokanyile, followed by Honorable Diale, and Honorable Plakis.
Thank you, Chair. My two questions have been partly covered, but I just want to be at least specific in terms of whatever information we can get on these two questions. One, it's on the assurance on the peacemaking deal, specifically on the troops that will be moving out of the area in patches or in groups, that where they are moving from and in transit as they move along, the guarantee of their safety or the plan B in case the situation changes, whether there is any coverage as far as that is concerned. Number two, in terms of the stakeholders, I'm being specific here in terms of taking them on board or being participants, because here and there they will also release some statements which may sometimes differ or negate what we will have got as an official information. I'm referring here to the unions as stakeholders within the Defence Force, whether in the whole process, especially of the withdrawal, that they are part and in support of the process. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, I think it's me.
Yes.
Let me greet you, Chairperson, together with the honourable members, the deputy ministers that are here, and the officials, the generals from the South African National Defence Force. Thank you very much about the report. I think, Chairperson, I'm partly covered because I wanted to check on the peacekeeping that has emerged to the withdrawal of the troops. Then now, what will happen with the equipment that was involved meanwhile they were on that mission? But I'm partly covered, especially on the issue that says the withdrawal is still being carried on. Then a report will be given thereafter. Then it also covers the issue that I wanted to ask on the expenses that were incurred. Then I'm saying that I'm covered. I don't want any other answer because the generals, when they were responding together with the deputy minister, at least they assisted me. They covered me in some of the issues that I wanted to tackle. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sokanyile. Honorable Diale.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Greetings, Chairperson. Greetings, honorable members, the deputy ministers that are here, and greetings also to the department. Chair, I just need to perhaps start with registering proper apology for Honorable Niehaus. For the record, Honorable Niehaus has not just been deployed by organization to any other issue. Honorable Niehaus is in Parliament debating in one of the sittings in Parliament. So may it, for the record, be properly registered as such. That's point number one. And point number two, let me appreciate the ceasefire in DRC. I think it's news worth appreciating and celebrating at this stage. But Chair, I'm just a bit worried about the answers have been given to a number of questions, but I'm a bit worried about issue of costs that at least we expect the department, or we anticipate that the department would by now, or at least be able to identify or indicate to us the cost so far that has been spent as asked by several members in the committee. So we don't have any answers in respect of costs so far incurred in the SAMIDRC issue. So it's a cause for concern for me personally. but also on issue of cost, because costs are very important for us and for the country. I suppose the department is aware of the anticipated cost in the MONUSCO operation. Can I get an indication as to whether the country is going to be spending on the MONUSCO operation and the anticipated areas within which the spending or the cost will be incurred? Perhaps you can have an idea as to what is going to happen in that regard. And I'm also worried about the issue of, the response to operational questions by Honorable Harting. The department's response to say, no, on operational issues, we can't respond now. Honorable Harting, you are privy to the issue, so you should understand better. The department must remember, Honorable Harting is not only asking questions for himself, he's asking so that members don't repeat the same questions. He's also asking so that the members and the country should understand or should get responses as for the question asked. So perhaps maybe if questions can be answered so that we don't have to repeat operational questions that were asked or any questions that were asked by members. I'm covered in respect of, I wanted to get the stakeholder involvement, especially the unions, but I'm covered by the previous honorable member. I'm happy about that. So that's that for now. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Diale. Honorable Plakis.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, General, for the comprehensive report. Chair, mine is just on Operation Copper. What the challenge that we are having on the issues of platforms and equipment, are the generals satisfied that they will successfully implement Operation Copper in the coming future? Because that is one of my concerns, Chair. That's me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Plakis and honorable members. Can Honorable Harting, I see your hand. We're waiting for Honorable Harting.
Thank you, Chair. I struggled to unmute. One comment and one question, please. We've seen in the past that on difficult questions, we get responses where the actual response has been hidden behind operational security, which I understand. But remember, some of these issues are really not anything about operational security, because the information is out there. It's been printed in newspapers and social media in Rwanda and the DRC and Tanzania. It's available there, but South Africans are being denied the information. That comment, I think we should be very careful when we claim operational security in an effort not to respond to a question. Then my last question, Chair. We've seen in the past that equipment being sent to South Africa by sea gets plundered and vandalized en route, either at the departure point, at sea perhaps, in the port of arrival, and then also on the train on its way back to the Brug. Are any measures in place to prevent this happening to our billions of rand of equipment that needs to come back on that in that fashion? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get answers to these questions? And can we also, while we do, clarify, maybe Honorable Harting, you could indicate what information is this that's already in the media in other countries, so that we are aware.
Chairperson, I refer to issues about this SAMIDRC deployment that we receive from time to time, and actually it's been highlighted since January with the conflict there, information that we couldn't get out of the SANDF, even in a closed meeting at Easterplaat, where we should have had a full briefing about what happened during the Goma incident, but we didn't get it. At that stage, Chairperson, you will recall, I think there were only mention made of 2 casualties, 2 deceased, and 5 people being injured. That's the type of thing that I'm referring to. We go there in a closed meeting at the secure site, and we still don't get the briefing that we went there to get. And this has been the trend since January. We're not getting the full information, and I get the same feeling about withdrawal now. The reasons for not using Goma, the way we're getting our equipment out, and some of this information is freely available on social media, forthcoming out of the DRC and other countries. Yes, I know. Also from M23 sources within Rwanda, and I know much of this can be propaganda, but we need a strategy to convey information, critical information about our deployment that does not compromise our operational security, but we need to inform the nation of what's going on, and then specifically this committee, and where there's a requirement for it and there's necessity for it, let's go into committee, but not the type of committee meeting we had at Easterplaat. Thank you, Chair. I hope I responded to your question.
Okay, thank you. I hope the issues are noted so that we are able to respond without endangering the security of those who are still in deployment, particularly whilst on transit back to South Africa, or in those who are left behind in Goma as part of the UN mission. I will take Honorable Gerike, Honorable Swart. I suppose they want to have follow-up questions. But before we take those follow-up questions, and Deputy Minister Mkhungo, let me ask for responses to the questions that have been asked by Honorable Noe, Honorable Sokanyile, Diale, Plakis. And then from Honorable Hatting, we will take those as follow-up questions, including Gerike and Honorable Swart.
Yeah. Chairperson, thank you very much. My apology, I didn't hear your last words as you were talking. But can I start off? I like to start at the end, Chairperson. And I want to assure Honorable Hatting, he is so right that the closed session, the session that will be closed, is meant for us to be very clear. I was there in Easterplaat, and if there is such a thing that has happened, I will call it that way. I do not recall it. But what I would agree with him is that, of course, a closed session is meant for us to give whatever that we can give. The loss of our soldiers, it happened, we release media statements. And it is public information, as Honorable Hatting is saying. We had never refused about that. So the closed session, if there is anything that has happened which you were shortchanged in terms of information, I would say an apology for that. But I say so still saying that we were trying to ponder what could this issue be. But Honorable Hatting, you are correct in saying that that's where we need to thresh out things. And then the issue of equipment that are sent by sea. May I say, Honorable Hatting, you know, if I'm transporting my equipment by sea, by road, by air, who is there? It's a commercial support system that I have engaged in. that comes in with its own rules. And one of those rules that I know of is that when I get to the other side, my equipment have broken, my equipment are missing, then I will have to take that commercial line to tasks. But the packaging is quite important as well, because how you have packaged your equipment should leave no room for any body to play certain tricks on them. And we are at a point of departure of this commercial, up until the point where they berth alongside South Africa's waters. So as the SANDF, we are there, and we are confirming that our equipments are still in that good state. But thanks for this input, Honorable Hatting. Just to assure you internally, we've been hammering on the issue of log, stock, and barrel that must be accounted for, and on the issue of ensuring the equipments that they should not be damaged by ourselves as we load them. Then on the issue of the issue around Honorable Ployki, the issue around in terms of the ability to respond, the ability to respond. I hope I've noted this one right. My notes today are not working very well with me, and it's my handwriting. I hope I've noted this thing, the ability for us to be able to respond. I need to say, Honorable, we will be able to respond in a situation that we are confronted with. We should be able to respond. And if we are not able to respond, given whatever circumstances that might be there, but we must be able to respond from the home base. And so there are these choices that we have. But the question that you are asking, I must say, it's a very critical one, and we take note of it. Then, in terms of Honorable Dial, what we have responded on in terms of the cost spent, one of the costs we indicated, SAMIDRC, it's under SADC. And the question is, what have we spent thus far? And I think the CFO is here with me, and he's gonna take you through that one to say this is actually what has happened.
Did you prepare for it?
And then the other one is the questions that have been asked, Honorable Diale. I need to say that the questions that have been asked, it is important that we have got to remind each other, not just ourselves, but including the committee, wherein such questions has got to be dealt with differently, that we go for that to deal with the questions differently. And we do understand that as members of parliament, you've got that responsibility. But I believe members of parliament understand it too, that the matter of security is the authority of parliament. And there is a way that parliament would deal with some of these issues, have made provisions for that. And that is what we are referring to, Honorable Diale. And I think for now, that is about it. The chairperson, I would rather give to the CFO to take us through CFO in terms of this expenditure.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and members of the Joint Standing Committee. So far, we have expensed about 1.6 billion rand on the Optiba, our deployment to SAMIDRC. Obviously, we are still finalizing the reconciliation of the figures that we have spent in the previous financial year of 24-25. So once the financial statement figures are finalized, we will have the correct, accurate information for you. But so far, we have expensed about 1.6 billion of what National Treasury has given us in terms of our deployment to SAMIDRC. I think the members are also aware that we also have to pay an assessed contribution to SAMIDRC in terms of, or to SADC in terms of our deployment in SAMIDRC. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Let me take Honorable Gerike and Honorable Swart, and then Honorable Deputy Minister Mkhumbu.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. Good morning. Can I just understand if I'm audible? I struggle here with some connection. Can you hear me?
Very much so. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm going to be brief. Good morning, colleagues and members of the SANDF. Thank you, first and foremost, for the presentation by the General. It gives some light on certain issues. This is a very sensitive matter. Yes, we had the secret meeting, and the contents of that meeting should not have been shared because of the sensitivity of it. But I will also agree with you, Chairperson, that we do not endanger the lives of soldiers at the moment as they are in that specific area. However, we do need to know whether our soldiers are safe, because of various other media reports suggesting that our soldiers are undergoing severe strain and in some instances even assault from hostile forces in that area. For them to be released, they go through a whole range of stuff in order to get back to South Africa. We want to have the surety that our soldiers are safe and sound and secure, and that the route that they will travel back to South Africa, has that route been decided as yet and agreed upon? That's the first question. The second question is, we want to understand about the injured soldiers. Remember, and as it has been repeated here today again, about the numbers in terms of the injured soldiers, over and above those deceased. When we went to a recent visit to the one military hospital in Pretoria, figures of 116 injured soldiers were mentioned. And apparently they were taken up in that hospital, and it's the first time that I have heard that number there from a senior official in the South African National Defence Force. Apparently those people were taken up in the one military hospital, and it has not been reported in a meeting where I was present, for instance. So I want to know, give us some clarity on the injured soldiers and whether some injured soldiers are still in the care of that hospital. And lastly, I've heard the introduction of the General, and I think General Olomisa has mentioned something about an inquiry. I missed it though. What about the inquiry? What was said about an inquiry? Remember that 1, 2, 3 meetings ago, we have proposed an investigation or a commission of inquiry, and there was no opposition to that. And this is not to find people guilty. This is to prevent a repeat of the same occurrence. And also to strengthen the South African National Defence Force in terms of budget, where they are deployed, and a lot of other operational issues, Chairperson. So I want to know what is the attitude of the committee this morning in submitting this report. What is the attitude of the committee this morning with regard to the commission of inquiry or the comprehensive investigation as has been proposed in previous meetings? And it is important to understand that there were no opposition to the proposals submitted for an investigation. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart.
No, thank you, Chair, and thank you to the generals, and particular to our Chief of the Defence Force. I am a very forgiving person, and I do understand as well the sensitivity of divulging operational issues. The last thing I would want to do is to endanger our soldiers at this time. And so I appreciate your caution. You will remember when I asked the questions, I did indicate these might be operational, but I do think at a certain time, that need not necessarily be now, that there should be the opportunity, as you expressed, through the parliamentary channels for those questions to be answered, or as the Honourable Hurricane now indicated, that we have that discussion about, in addition to what Deputy Minister Holomisa said of boards of inquiry that the Defence Force will engage in, that Parliament has, as in the past, with other deployments, other battles, had an oversight inquiry, whether it is behind locked doors or elsewhere, that is a decision that can be taken. But I think at an opportune time, I share his sentiments that we did have this discussion in earlier meetings, and there was broad consensus for exercising oversight. The reason why this could also be very helpful, and why I tried to put the one question about resources, is we're dealing with budgets for the SANDF. We are broadly in agreement, all of us over the years, that the SANDF is under-resourced. And so at this stage, when we start from the 21st of March dealing with budgets again, there is, in my view, a critical need for us to have information as to the deficiencies in budgeting for this deployment. And that is the challenge that one then has, such as the deployment of Rooivalk helicopters and what impact that had. That is, yes, very definitely operational. But when it comes to the committees evaluating the budget for the Department of Defense, for the SANDF, this type of information is very necessary. So I would ask the generals and SEC to also consider how to assist Parliament in considering the budget allocations for the financial year and the medium term, given the fact that we're all in agreement that it is deficient. Chairperson, it's very important also to note that we still have forces deployed in the DRC under MONUSCO. And I think that is, we all are fully aware of that. And again, the question will arise to what degree that under the UN deployment, they are sufficiently resourced. Again, the questions about the helicopters, that can be answered I'm not asking for answers now. But I do want to just mention one aspect that I did omit, and that was a lot of focus, welcome focus, was on the protection of civilians. And we, from our perspective, want to commend the deployments under MONUSCO and the SAMIDRC deployment as far as possible for the protection of civilians. However, members will recall that we raised the issue of the persecution of civilians, in particular the tragic and heinous beheading of Christians, 70 Christians in a church in North Kivu province. So the challenge is, whilst we are all calling for the return of our troops, and I think another member did raise this issue as to what is being done about the protection of civilians, given such attacks that are taking place. And it's a double-edged sword, because we are saying, please withdraw our troops, but at the same time, there is a need for protection of civilians, and one presumes that will be under the MONUSCO mandate. Thank you. I just want to again express my appreciation for the presentation by the generals, Chairperson, and for the work that they are doing. And let us trust and pray, firstly, that the ceasefire holds, secondly, that our troops return safely to South Africa, and thirdly, that all those families that lost troops, that they'll be comforted, and that those who are injured will fully recover. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart, including for the prayer for safe return of our soldiers, eternal rest for the souls of the departed, and speedy recovery for the injured, and comfort for the families of both the departed and the injured. Can we have Honorable Deputy Minister Mkungo? I see his hand has gone down. I don't know whether he no longer wants to speak. But I also want to bring to your attention that generals, that the question about whether all stakeholders are on board, that has not been responded to. I think members just want to know, particularly internal they're referring to internal stakeholders. Are the internal stakeholders on board, the unions and others? Honorable Deputy Minister, I take it you are contributing to the responses to the questions asked, Deputy Minister. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. I thought you had instructed us that we deal with responding to questions, and my colleagues have responded accordingly. I just want to comment.
Okay, Deputy Minister, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm happy with progress made out of the discussion that you have had. And I'm also happy that all of us here have a common understanding that we don't need to be reckless in the army issues with regard to information, because from time to time we need to balance the facts and issues of security, because other issues are dealt with at an intelligence level. I also want to indicate that from what we have transpired in our discussions, it is clear that the mission to withdraw all soldiers remains.
The minister's network is bad, Chair.
Sorry, Deputy Minister. Co-Chair, what were you saying?
The minister's network is poor. We can't hear him.
Okay. Though I think some of us have been hearing him well. So, but Deputy Minister, maybe try to speak, I don't know, louder, or move position so that all members can hear you clearly.
Can you hear me clear now, Chairperson?
I can on my side. I'm not sure about other members, but you may proceed. If the network issues continue, we will paraphrase.
Okay, Chairperson. From my side, I think there is a progress, amazing progress in the process of withdrawal, because at some point we were nervous about the situation in Angola. I think we need to appreciate job well done, in particular by the leadership of the army and soldiers themselves. You know, we know the soldiers have a duty to serve their nation. They prioritize the nation's well-being and defense above their own, as outlined in the principles of the army, Chairperson. These people, our soldiers, have demonstrated a commitment to selfless service, upholding the law and defending against external threats. Our soldiers were proud of them. They accordingly followed orders when they accordingly participated in various operations, such as this peacekeeping mission. It has been a difficult one. They know in times of war, soldiers are expected to participate in combat operations, and they've done that to their best responsibility to defend against the enemy. So it is clear, as we constantly appealed for more budget for our advanced technologies, because from time to time, as we speak about what happened, we also talk about the difficulty in having a technology that is that satisfies our mission. Lastly, Chair, we need to support the extension by our president of the employment of the SANDF for the fulfillment of an international obligation, more especially in Mozambique. If we have to move in that way, we will be happy, Comrade Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. I think what the Deputy Minister, for those who may not have heard him when, he was noting and expressing appreciation for progress with regard to withdrawal from the DRC, and noting that the process is still underway and we need to be sensitive to the security of our soldiers, and that we need to support, urging that we support the extension of the deployment in Mozambique, Operation Copper, to protect our seas against piracy. Generals, you have not responded to the issue of the unions. And I think the last few questions that have been asked by members, Honorable Hatting requesting that whilst understanding operational security, we need to be able to provide clarity on certain issues, particularly when they are already in the media, and asking a question whether we have a plan to secure our equipment that will be brought in on sea and traveling via trains, so that that equipment doesn't get damaged in the process. Honorable Gerike, inquiring whether our soldiers on the ground are safe and the route that has been chosen is safe. I think he said he's asking this in light of some reports which have been heard, which referred to some that our soldiers are being what's the word, put under severe strain on the ground in Goma. Are those news true? Are they fake news? Are our soldiers secure? And all of that. And asking about the status of the injured soldiers. I think you had briefed us about the soldiers that were injured before, but I don't think the committee has had time to focus specifically on injured soldiers. What is their status? When we were at one military hospital, we saw one soldier, and we were told that others had been discharged. They had gone home. Are they recovering? What's the situation with regard to them? Are there any who have gotten injured since then, among those that are returning home? I think members also express appreciation. I don't think you need to respond to this on the issue of the inquiry that the Deputy Minister Olomisa spoke about earlier, that will take place upon completion of this mission, so that the committee and Parliament get full understanding of everything that went on there. Honorable Swart also emphasized the importance of that internal inquiry and raises the issue that the issue of the resources as are being asked, it's raised not to underline any negativity, but to underline the importance of proper funding for the National Defence Force, something that we all support. And then he asks the question, what will be the status of the protection of civilians in the DRC in light of this withdrawal? And cites an incident where people were attacked at a church. And we have seen these instances not only in DRC, but in other countries where there are these where there are civil wars, where people are attacked, whether in churches, in mosques, and in areas where we would regard as sacred, and therefore that don't need to be attacked. I think those were the questions, the follow-up questions that we asked. If you could respond to them.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you so much. I would start right at the end where you ended off, Chairperson, and to say that thank you to Honorable Swart for his words, to say that he's a forgiving person. We take that much seriously, and thank you for that one. May I say, Chairperson, that with regards to the status of the protection of civilians, that issue, the SANDF and the SAMIDRC are now in a withdrawal mode from the DRC. But what we know is that there is an operation that is still in the DRC, and that one is MONUSCO, that has as part of their mandate the protection of civilians. And again, as we stated, the mission, it's the situation, there has been an agreement in terms of the furtherance of the diplomatic engagement to seek permanent peace in that area. And we said that that pleased us, and as the decision was being taken to withdraw, that was the decision that was taken. So these are the two things that I can mention in as far as that question is concerned. And we do take note, we've said this before, that we do need the support of honorable members when it comes to the defense budget. Because without the support of the honorable members, obviously, we might move, but I don't think we'll move very fast. And therefore, your voices are very, very relevant and are needed as of yesteryears, so that we can see the Defense Force to be much more modernized and renewed from time to time. That is what I can say on these ones. And once again, to say to the honorable member, thank you very much. You did mention the question of the inquiry. I need to say, Chairperson, and honorable members will know, the inquiry is above us in the manner that is being explained by honorable members. It's not something that we can respond to. If I heard the Chairperson correctly, the Chairperson was indicating that we should not respond to this, but that it's an issue which the deputy ministers, they are here, both of them. We hope they will look at it. In our space, Chairperson, what we have, which is a standard practice, that once we have lost lives, and once there's any other incident, we convene what is called a board of inquiry. Very standard in the South African National Defense Force. And therefore then, when we talk about an inquiry, as I said, it is not in our level that we can comment on an inquiry. Instead, and I think Honorable Gerike also mentioned the same issues around the inquiry, but he also emphasized on the need to understand in terms of the safety of the soldiers. And he said that has the route been decided upon, I'm going to request on the issues of safety, all of them, as mentioned, the issues of safety in terms of the transportation through the cargo of our own equipment. Though I have already answered that one, but I will still request that as Chief of Joint Operations should have a word onto it. Well, the question by Honorable Noah, I'm very sorry, he asked it earlier on, and I have noted it down. Let me put it this way, Chairperson. We do not have any obligation by law to share information or to communicate to the unions, but we have got an obligation by law to work for the people of South Africa. And this, what it says is that we will always take South Africans into confidence in terms of the developments operationally, just like we are now doing with the representatives of the people of South Africa. And that is the obligation that we have. But what about the people who are not in the defense force, who may not have this space? What we have seen from the side of the unions is that when they have got an issue, just like the members of the media does, they will inquire from us to say, what about this and that? And the Chief of the Defense Force himself has emphasized this point. He has said it at some point, I think it was last week on the 4th, when we were busy with the media briefing, where he indicated the importance of choice of sources, and that your best source is the Defense Force itself. And otherwise, Chairperson, you are going to have people who are going to be continuing to be saying things, but your best source is the Defense Force. We have throughout this time, we have been releasing media statements on an incident that occurred today and another one at that time. Blame us for not sharing information that we thought requires a different platform, and we have to manage it from that particular perspective. So, Chair, if you allow, I want to give an opportunity now to Chief of Joint Operations to speak about the safety issues, CJOs.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and members of the honorable members of the committee. It's I think according to my records, it's Honorable Gerike and Pitso who raised the issue of the other one, route movement of soldiers, whether it is safe, other one when they are moving to the transit camp. Yes, it is noted, but I wish the members of the committee to refresh that when I presented, we said one of the objectives of the reconnaissance team was to ensure or determine a suitable and secure route for road movement, as well as staging areas for SAMIDRC personnel and cargo out of Goma to the various TCCs. Furthermore, to determine a suitable and secure route for the road or air or sea movement. When we conduct operations, safety and security is priority and it is primary. Now, in this case, SADC went the extra mile, but which is also part of, which is normal in deployments of this nature, that they engaged with the Republic of Rwanda for them to commit to the SADC for this safe passage in the territory of Rwanda up to the territory of Tanzania. Those are the measures that were undertaken that in Goma, they were undertaken when we had a meeting with the M23. They committed, it's there in the communique, that they are allowing and supporting the safe withdrawal of SAMIDRC personnel and equipment. It's in the communique. So there is that guarantee. Then the SADC Secretariat went to Rwanda because we were going to move military assets through the territory of the country, and also engage and requested, and we're given assurance of the safe, again, the word safe withdrawal and movement of soldiers out of Goma in the dedicated route in Rwanda into Tanzania. So we believe that we've put in place all the necessary measures, maybe, I'm not sure to say guarantee, or to assure the issue of a safe movement of the withdrawal of forces. And we remain hopeful that it will be as such. And I believe also we did indicate that we were, because of the situation.
Yeah. Okay, again. Okay.
Who's that now? Colleagues, please mute yourselves. Thank you.
So, Chairperson, I can say we are saying we've done all that we believe is necessary to ensure a safe passage of our soldiers from Goma through Rwanda to Tanzania. And we hope it will remain as such. Those soldiers are our soldiers. We are soldiers as well. So there's no way where we can be reckless. If then an incident does happen, it cannot be, and it will not be deliberate. And I really want to reassure or reiterate that we hope and wish that it will be. I believe that we've done everything that is necessary. The alternative to say we do not move is out of the equation. We have to move. Then you must put in measures. And in any movement, even the road traveling here, going home, there's always a risk, a possibility. But to put measures, we have put measures, and we have trust in M23. That they honor their commitment. They've done so far. The Republic of Rwanda, they've done so much as they have committed. And when we are in Tanzania, also we are safe. There was a question by Honorable Plaiki, the issue of concern regarding OPCOPA, implementation of OPCOPA due to challenges. Yes, you are quite right. We are struggling with vessels. There's a time and space when they are available, and then they do their work under Operation Copper. There's times when they are unserviceable, they are busy refurbishing them. One of the, what we can say can comfort us is the 3 new vessels that have been commissioned, and they are undergoing operational testing, and very soon they'll be at sea under operational Copper. We hope in future we are going to furthermore get more vessels, because it's important that we secure our sea waters. I so submit. Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I see there are 2 new hands. I take them as follow-ups. Members, we had said this meeting will finish at 12, so I will require your indulgence to proceed beyond this. But since one of the hands is of the co-chair, I am obligated to take that hand and Honorable Noah, and then we will then bring this session of the meeting to an end to decide on how to move forward. But Honorable Phala, Honorable Noah, to follow.
Thank you, thank you, Chair, and thanks once again to our officials. On my plea, Chair, is to the ministry and the SANDF, the generals who are here, to ensure that our remaining soldiers, as part of MONUSCO, are effectively equipped, and that the contingency plans are in place should the security situation change in the future, especially around the air support. You need to look at it with the UN, because really we would not want to see a recurrence of what happened to SAMIDRC. The people of this country would not want to see what happened, and it's just a plea to the ministry, Minister Holomisa and Minister Makungu, and the officials here, that let's do something possible to ensure that we don't have the repeat of what happened before. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noah.
Chair, sorry, on my question of the units, I think I'm not happy with the response or the manner in which the general has responded. I'm not sure whether the deputy ministers will respond in the same manner or agree. Because if we talk of stakeholders, I don't see how you will include representatives of, say, using the word workers. If SADNU and other unions are recognized within this, specifically when you are dealing with a matter of this nature, and then you exclude them when they are a voice that can express their views on certain processes where they will think their members are not being well catered for. So if that is the case, how the general responded, I don't think it's a good strategy to employ. It's not necessarily being accountable to or having obligation to tell them what you're doing, but it's your partners within the working space. And they also communicate some information to the public that may be detrimental somehow or making things worse to a certain extent. So I was just saying, I don't think that is the right approach. Maybe the deputy ministers will take note of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Look, I think the matter is noted. The matter is noted by the political leadership of the department, as well as the generals. So I think what the members have raised with regard to engaging the unions, I took it that General Sangweni was saying, or was it General Ramanswana was saying that even though they are not obligated to consult the unions, but they do from time to time engage them. Deputy Minister, please. Deputy Minister Mkungo, please mute. Thank you. I was saying that I thought we were told that even though there is no obligation to consult the unions, but they do from time to time get engaged on certain issues which they would have raised. and the members of the committee are emphasizing the importance of engaging the internal stakeholders, mainly also because if we don't, then sometimes their communication outside becomes, it distracts from the objectives of whichever operation we might be involved with. And they can detract from the important issues that we are dealing with. So it's necessary to engage them so that they also are able to add a positive voice to the issues that we are confronted with. Honorable members, we bring these items items 2, 3, and items 3, 4, and 5 to the end. But my understanding is that there was a proposal to support the employment letter dated 2 April 2025. And I would like to get a seconder for that. We've all been briefed about its importance. Now, the issue of the inquiry is not yet a decision, a resolution of the committee. And I think, as Honorable Gerike said, the matter was proposed, but it's not yet been finalized. I'm no longer taking new hands, honorable members. We're closing these items. At the right time, I think once we receive the full report of the DRC mission, we will then engage with the proposal. We will engage with the proposal of the inquiry and what nature it must take, whether we are going to institute a separate one or we will utilize the reports that will come from the department. So we have not yet taken a decision on the matter. We are grateful for the presentation which has been made, and the discussion on the cost of the deployment must be weighed against the benefits of this deployment, the ceasefire which has been achieved, and other important benefits which include South Africa's important standing on the African continent as a loyal member of SADC and the African Union, as well as the United Nations. So we always have, whilst we look at how much we have spent on these operations, usually the benefits are inestimable, because you cannot put rands and dollars to what we have achieved as a result of the rands and dollars we have spent on operations of this nature. The committee expresses its full support for our military, and that is how the issues we raise must be understood. We are robust in doing so, but it's not because we do not support our military. It's because we support our military fully. And it's very important to understand that. And we look forward to the exit report of this deployment, so that we can engage with everything which took place there. Honorable Plakis, you wanted to say something. I give you precisely because I know what you are going to say. I don't want to say it on your behalf.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to second the employment of our marine forces.
Thank you very much. Deputy Ministers, thank you so much for your attendance. To the generals, thank you. We appreciate the presentations made. you are free to exit the platform at any time. But there were items 6, 7, and 8. No, 6, 7, 8, and 9 that were still outstanding. With your permission, honorable members, I want to put it before you. Can we reschedule them, to defer them to the next meeting? It's a proposal, honorable members. Can we defer items 6 to 9 to the next meeting?
Chair, I support that.
Honorable Hattin.
Chair, I support that.
Okay, Honorable Hattin supports that. Honorable Pala.
I was going to support it as well. Honorable Hattin has done it, so let's. I also, go with that motion that we defer to the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And while we are on the platform, Chair, could you please do the honors and wrap the meeting up?
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to the deputy ministers, Minister Holomisa and Minister Mkungu, and thanks to the senior officials of the Defence Force. We are really comfortable with your presentation. We are happy that you are in charge of the situation. We are really worried about the issues of TRC, and we are looking forward to ensure that you conclude these matters accordingly, and as well to ensure that our remaining soldiers who are in TRC are properly equipped and do what is expected of them. We are behind you, leadership, and they will provide all the support as you need from us. We are proud about this institution. This is the last line of defense of our democracy. We'll do everything to give you that maximum support. Without waste of time, thank you, honorable members, and thanks to our support staff. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members.